My name's Kellyanne Temple, and I'm a jeweler and metalsmith. I also consider myself an educator, so I'm mostly working in traditional metalsmithing techniques, but I also explore a variety of materials that relate to the human body.
Cool. So I'll actually jump right off that because I find that one of the more, well, it's entirely unique insofar as my experience. But um, what is it about the human body, and that you can go as deep or not deep into that as you'd like, um, that has you so drawn to it in terms of like creating around it?
Mm-hmm. Um, I think, I mean, there's obviously like I could answer this in like lots of different ways,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the number one thing, and I think that that's what I'm noticing more and more is there's so much there's so much like open-endedness when we think about the body, and like although we all encompass like these same like machines, essentially these like organic machines, they're very different, and and they're unpredictable. So I think I'm fascinated by the fact that the body can repair. It has the ability to like accept things, reject things, like on a thinking about it as like material or like a machine. So it's adaptable.
Yeah.
Um, but I think mostly is that it kind of I'm a little like afraid of of this idea of like deterioration or not knowing what's happening within, and we only know some of that when it tends to surface in different ways, and our body tries to show us things. But yeah, I think it's unpredictable nature, but at the same time it can also be predictable.
Yeah.
So it keeps me questioning, and I think that that's what keeps me making about it. I mean, mostly I'm thinking about surgery and medical interventions, um, implants, prosthetics,
Mm-hmm.
and how, and in that relationship, how the body can accept, reject, or adapt to these like man-made systems, essentially.
What is, I guess, the vibe of people there? Like whether that's students, whether that's friends, family, like what is the general feeling about everything that's happened?
Like I guess it kind of goes in ways. Like if I start to think about it like linearly and
Mm-hmm.
like looking back at the past few weeks, um, it started off with me be like from starting from the center of myself, right? I felt like quite anxious. Again, this like the same relation to the body, like this idea of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I was trying to grasp information that I didn't know, which of course, like most of the world, I think felt. But then it shifted into trying to convince people that it was like that we should be concerned,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like my parents or my friends who are still wanting to get together and hang out,
Right.
and I also have, you know, my friend circle isn't just here in Oklahoma, but like also talking to people across the states
Yeah.
who live in different situations where they were already going through like quarantines and certain things shutting down, and so they're kind of ahead of us being, you know, centrally located in Oklahoma. Um, but now that's kind of evened out. I think everyone's in it for my circle. I think everyone's kind of at the same level of understanding now.
Yeah.
Um, we've tried. I say we, me, and my husband have tried really to just keep communicating with family more than normal.
Mm-hmm.
Just some sort of in community amongst our friends, sharing things, sharing food.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening. Like baking a lot and like dropping baked goods off to people.
Are there any effects, whether they're positive or negative, that you feel will come of this situation?
I think I have a fear as an educator
Yeah.
what will happen within, you know, higher ed programs.
Yeah,
That's
because you
been pretty
teach, right?
tricky. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So kind of modifying assignments,
Yeah.
changing assignments. But I tried my best to like keep communicating with them. So we've been doing like Zoom class,
Right.
like once a week, and It's been going pretty well. I mean, not everyone shows up. Sometimes people
Sure.
show up like with their head on their pillow
Yeah.
still, like sleeping or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's helping them. So each week I try to, when we catch up obviously about the assignments, and we have a schedule of what we're going to talk about during that day. But I also like to chat with them about like what's going on outside of that, and
Yeah.
find ways for them to share productivity. Like it's like, what's working for you? How
Yeah.
can you share this with each other? And so some of them have, they're trying to figure out time management and kind of just rescheduling their life. So it's interesting to.
Yeah.
It was a hard shift, but it's been. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Because I think we can
Yeah.
learn a lot about ourselves in this situation, and then also like where our situations are similar, and yes, there's quite a range of extremes within that too.
Yeah.
But for them to be able to provide insight for one another, I think was like pretty helpful.
Oh yeah.
I've been trying to like pull like what works for them, and then of course it helps me respond as an educator to figure out like best ways to keep them creative. Because that was my main goal. It's like, okay, well, if we have to switch to online, I have to kind of reframe what the class is, and what's the main thing. It's like they're making jewelry, so like number one, I want them to keep making,
Yeah.
and I want them to keep thinking about jewelry. So we've been doing tons of material experiments. I fear, which there's conversations about this all across the nation, of transferring a lot of higher ed onto online anyway.
Right.
And what that looks like for creative practices. I think a beautiful thing that's happened is people connecting across the nation and sharing those experiences and sharing those concerns.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a little bit of a concern for that, but that in this extreme where we can't be in contact with people and we can't work in those specific ways. I mean, all art practices, right? Or all creative practices. That we, and not even just creative practices, like everyone, right? That we realize the importance of face-to-face interaction, and that connection is so important. And yes, we do, like Jackie and I are fortunate to be able to talk to each other right now in this way and see one another, but there's something different about being in person. So I just hope that I think it will. I think people will.
Oh, I think it will too.
Value that. So that's a positive. I think that there'll be hopefully like higher value in the opportunity to have face-to-face connection with people.